Hello, and welcome back to our Friends of McGill football interview series, Overtime with Andy. And this week we are going postseason actually here. Would have been ideal maybe to go preseason, but we're going postseason because we just started the whole interview process this year. So, Coach Max Chaput-Dupuy, welcome to our interview, Overtime with Friends of McGill Football. Defensive coordinator for McGill for the last two seasons. Um, let's start with a bit of your background. Actually, if there's an interview to look at, if anybody has time to check into a little podcast interview with you, there's a terrific one that's been done already with William Rochefort, a former player of yours. His
Yep.
Game On Experience Football interview last March was terrific, and I encourage everyone to go check it out and learn all about Coach Max. But let's start quickly with a just a review of your past. You went from McGill football, you went from playing at McGill, defensive back, to then you went on and played elsewhere, the legendary junior team on the South Shore that your father was owner of.
Exactly.
And then you went on to France. You coached Team Quebec in the meantime, and then you went on to coach 3 years in France. So if you could give us a little background in terms of why you went that route.
So, really early in my playing days, I realized I wasn't gonna earn a living by being a football player. So I figured why not join the coaching tree and then start doing that instead. And I was very fortunate to have the opportunity to go in France to kickstart that football coaching career. So I was with the Black Panthers in Tonon-les-Bains for 3 years from 2017 to 2019. A lot of big history of Quebec coaches and players going over there over the years. So I was just another one following the traces of the older guys that went there before me.
But
Um,
sorry to interrupt, but that's where you get sort of training, a general training for everything, because you're not just doing one role over there, right?
Absolutely. So what's something that's interesting is the group there is very different, heterogeneous, I would say. So we have some guys that played for Texas and played for Cal and had some tryouts for the New York Giants. And then some of our other players are plumbers during the day and they just come join the practice at night.
That's awesome.
So you have to be able to navigate through that, the different levels of football and the different level of football IQ and coach them up. And then the other thing with that is I was essentially alone, so didn't have a D line coach the first year, didn't have a linebacker coach the first year. So it's basically me learning how to coach those positions and also learning how to do it in 11-man football because they're playing
Yeah,
American rules over there. So a lot of adaptations within very few months to prepare, but it was a great experience. I had a lot of fun there.
that's fantastic. You also coach Team Quebec.
Yeah.
Um,
So when I my third year in France, I was called by GF Jonca, the head coach at Champlain Lennoxville, where I had played before, to offer me the defensive coordinator role there. So needless to say, I bought my plane ticket the same day I was back coming back home. Um, so I had a great stint there for 6 years, and during that time, I had the opportunity to coach Team Quebec twice. Once with the U16, once with the U18. But I was also involved with the excellence program for 4 years in a row there with the evaluation camps and all that. So,
okay, and we're going to jump ahead a little bit here, but when did you meet Coach Alex in that process? It
so
was
yeah, I met Coach Alex the first year of doing Team Quebec in 2021. So
okay.
coach was with the U18 back then. I was the DC with the U16, but I basically volunteered to help out with the U18 evaluation camp and selection camps and all that. So I was with them with essentially the whole journey up until they left for the tournament. And in 2022, same thing. 2023 again. So basically 3 years in a row, that what I was involved with them, and that's kind of where I got to meet Coach Soup and work with him.
Yeah, I talked to him a little bit before our little chit chat here, and he was saying that he was super impressed with you specifically. You know, your game concepts, your just your generally the way you deal with people. Um, so you've gone from McGill defensive back. to leading the entire team, the entire defense, excuse me. In terms of your concepts and your defensive ideas, if you had a perfect player at every position on defense, how would you describe sort of like a Max's perfect defense? How would they play?
They play strongly as a unit. And that's something
Okay.
that I always tell the guys, during recruiting periods, and even when we kickstart our winter camp or spring camp and our summer camp. I want the guys to play together, playing in unity, to trust each other, and have a high level of understanding of the defense, but also of understanding of what we're going to face, so that we can adjust on the fly and be symbiotic, or be able to adapt to whatever we're going to see from on a weekly basis. So I don't necessarily believe in a one scheme fits all. I think it's mostly trying to adapt to our players, and them being able to play together and play fast on game day.
Perfect. Perfect. So bringing the players into and dealing with the players you have there, obviously, and their strengths.
Yes, exactly.
Cool. Cool. Speaking of strengths, one of the this terrific interview there I mentioned before with one of your former players, William. He asked you a question, what advice you'd give to future coaches. I thought your answer was terrific in the sense was you said don't count the hours, and
Yeah.
that I think that can apply to every sort of job, first time job, any job you take and what have you. But what advice would you give to first time players at McGill? Because I think the McGill experience, haven't not having played at other universities, I think the McGill experience is probably a little bit different than maybe other places. Can you talk to that about what advice you give to rookie players coming into McGill?
I mean, make sure you're organized. Don't fall
Hmm.
behind. And that's something, even me as a coach, I learned this year at my expense. And I would say the reality is here that the academic demands are a little different than other places. So the
Yeah,
midterm session is a real midterm session. You can
it's
defer
real. Yeah,
exams and do things differently. So make sure you take a head start in your academic work, and make sure you don't fall behind on that. That would be like I would say a structural advice. And then as an individual or personality is be bold. Like, we're a young group, and come in and believe in yourself, and believe that you can make the difference, and that you're going to be part of the solution for us to win some football games. And I think we've shown it this year with a bunch of rookies playing on both sides, and some guys that did an awesome job on both sides of the ball, and even on special teams. And whoever comes in has a chance to contribute, and he has a chance to make this program better, and to leave his footprint for the next 20 to 25 years. And I think that's, to me, it's exciting, and that's one of the reasons why I came back as a coach. And I think players that we recruit should see the same opportunity to come in and have a big impact role on our program.
awesome. Let's continue along that line of thinking you just mentioned this year. Um, when you look back on 2025, the season, give us your sort of 2 minute encapsulation here of what you're going to think of. I'm thinking specifically of maybe one game that was pretty outstanding, but then a global sort of look back on the season.
In all transparency, is it's I would say the first word that comes to mind for me is it was a little bit of a deception on our side. We started very strong, and then people don't realize that. But after 4 games, so after that magical game that you're talking about, we were top five in almost every category defensively in Canada. We were doing great. We were creating turnovers. We were stopping the run. We were doing awesome. And I feel like in the second half of the season, because of multiple different factors, we weren't able to play at that same level within that last stretch. So for me, it's trying to be more constant moving forward, and hopefully we have the key pieces that we're missing this offseason, so that these things don't happen again over the course of the next years. So yeah, it's like a twofold season where we have a very good part and then a very bad part, and I'd like us to stay in that good part for as much as possible. So That will be the plan, and that's kind of my analysis of that last season, unfortunately.
The good, the bad, and the ugly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So without going into the factors per se,
Mhm.
one of them obviously was injuries.
Yeah.
We had a ton of injuries this year. Beyond the injuries, can you just speak to a little bit about what else, if you could wave a magic wand and redo the season, would there
Yeah.
be anything else? Like,
Well, I mean, you know, you're speaking about injuries, and it's easy to just send that note out and say, well, we didn't have our guys, but I think everybody
yeah, not as
kind
an
of deals with
excuse,
injuries.
Yeah,
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 exact. So everybody deals with injuries. I think for us it was the position or the key elements that we lost, and then as of now, that along with the fact that we were a very young unit on defense, I think in the front we had games that we didn't start a guy over 21 years old, so that youth combined with some key pieces missing, so the our defensive MVP didn't play a single snap after week 3, so that's a little tough on the group, I would say.
yeah,
So those two things were clearly factors. And then, I think everybody's in the room kind of felt pressure with the expectations. I think a lot of the outside noise was just putting us at great position. And I think after that Montreal game, we felt like maybe we were entitled, and we were there. We kind of showed everybody that we were able to do it. The reality is that it's a very competitive league, and whoever you play against, they're good coaches, good players, and everybody's getting ready to win some football games. So I think it's going to be a great learning curve for us, as individually on our side of the ball, but even for me as a coach to make sure I don't fall asleep, and don't let the guys fall asleep in the next year. So
yeah, yeah. I mean, I guess we're always learning. Um, Anyways, yeah. I mean, it was a weird year in the sense that it felt like it felt so positive the whole year, but then the record maybe didn't indicate that, and you know, uh, yeah, it was certainly highs and lows, I guess, this year. So
but having played here also, I think gives me a little bit of a different perspective than most. I was part of seasons where we had these kinds of record, even worse, I would say, but we weren't in any games. Like, it was, we lost games like 70-3 and 52-0, and like, we weren't competitive at all. I feel
mhm.
like this year there's 4 games that are lost within the possession. So you flip
Yeah,
a coin, and like I was saying with one of our coaches, Coach Yan, where we could be 10 to 12 plays of a 6-2 record, and it's
yeah,
it's
that close,
you
that
know it's
close.
it's it's
Yeah,
crazy to say, because that's not what it shows on the record sheet, but the reality is this. It's
yeah,
some small errors here and there that really made a big difference, and I think those errors will be cut down by having healthy players, and will be cut down by having a little bit more maturity. And
experience. Yeah,
yeah, and then I would say 2026 looks a lot different than 2025. And even though we had a worse record than 2024, I felt like we took a huge step forward in terms of getting those guys ready, and building our culture, and building how we want to work. And I don't see this offseason as the same as last offseason at all. I see it a lot more positively, and a lot more in terms of building our structure, and keep putting bricks on the building, versus last year we're still just trying to figure out our foundations, and make sure everything was stable. So
yeah.
I'm still very excited for this offseason, and the next year for sure.
That's fantastic. I mean, the feelings in the stands is similar. It's we feel the same way, the fans and the friends of McGill football and that. So, okay, we're taking up a lot of your time. Before I
It's
let
all
you
good.
go, okay, we just talking to Coach Soup before this week, just via text. He was mentioning that if ever you decided to step away from coaching, he thought that you could possibly be a professional eater. Now, specifically, he's talking about wings. He's never seen a human being consume more wings than yourself. Can you confirm or deny this?
I can confirm. I'm
You
a
can confirm.
pretty big chicken wing eater. Yeah.
And does that go back from your McGill days, your university days, or this is just like to spur you on in coaching? Is
Uh,
it new?
it goes back to my playing days. There's a guy I played with at McGill. I played with at Champlain, and I even played with when I was in civil football before. Uh, uh, Probably my one of my best buddies still to this day, and we're very tight together. And we used to go out for all you can eat wings all the time throughout our CJEP and university career, and I think it just stuck with me. And I have a pretty I haven't what my dad would say is I have my left leg is kind of empty, so I fill it up with the wings. That's what I do.
I heard that. Perfect. Love that. Well, thank you very much, Max, for joining us. I really appreciate it. Next week we're going to interview the offensive coordinator, Dimitri Moran. So for Friends of McGill Football and Coach Max, our defensive coordinator, I'm Andy Brookman saying, really appreciate your time. Thanks.
Thanks a lot, Andy. Appreciate it.